Hey, hello, welcome back. Sorry, I'm a minute late here. Whew, wasn't paying attention. Let's jump in. Branded media strategies. All right, let me just kind of do the same people I had in the last class. There's gonna be a lot of repeats, but just different subject matter. All right, session 1 is ending, as we talked about. I think everybody got their attendance in. You know where to find the video lectures. They're very important because I talk about other things, like how to do secret things or this or that, or I walk through the processes. Hopefully it helps you as designers to see how I would design it, how I stumble through stuff, getting everything organized and figuring out a new way to do stuff this semester. So, and trying to be organized. So watch the video lectures. They should help out. We did PDF lectures. I went through those. We've got a new set for today. We'll stagger those. Midweek session reviews. I get to them every day. I just did the history one. I'll do, if there's anybody who posted today or yesterday, I'll get to it after this class. I check them every day. Just depends on when I can get them. Then we have Tuesdays assignments, which are due on Tuesdays, and Thursdays assignments, which are due on Thursdays. It's all the standard stuff. Once we're rolling, we'll be rolling, and hopefully it'll all just kind of coalesce, and you'll just kind of be able to stick with it and spread things out and work away. Got a bunch of stuff. Maybe I'll do these today. Let's start off. Yeah, I'll do those today. Let's go down the line today. Don't forget your attendance, right? This is how I check attendance. If you don't do it, you're absent. Even if you turn in everything, you didn't do the attendance thing, it is your attendance. Make sure you do it. And it's an easy A. Oh, what is sans serif? Oh, it's a color palette. Wrong. It's a font without decorative strokes. And then you hit continue. You do all 5. Again, you should know these. These are words that you use all the time. Just get it, knock it out. 5 minutes of your time, and that's how I take attendance. And then if the college sees it and you're not attending, they'll drop you from the course. And you'll be like, but I turned in everything else. I'll be like, you didn't turn in the attendance thing. Doesn't mean. So that's the way, because I have people online, virtual, hybrid, come in, don't come in. It's the only way I can take attendance. So that's how I do it. 5 minutes of your time to make sure you don't get dropped from the course. And then you have, you can say like, why did this happen? I was dropped. I'll be like, well, I have proof you didn't. So let's do these, because then I can yammer more on Thursday. I'm going to yammer a lot today and Thursday, but I think I'm just going to do a combination of working on all the projects in both sessions. I think it'll help out. I just don't want to like forget about stuff. So let's talk about hyphens. And my big thing in hyphens, and I can open stuff up and show you how to do presets. Some of them you can do presets. Hyphens. Hyphens just look bad. How come we can't have hyphens in our work? It looks bad. It makes text harder to read. And with one click, you can remove hyphens from every document, every paragraph, and you can do it in InDesign. You can do it before you start. There's a way to do it. You set it, and then you close InDesign and you reopen it, and it'll always start with no hyphens. Hyphens, like I said, hyphens are used in publications in which there's like limited space. And so they want to use every character possible on a line. So they use hyphens. I'm talking newspapers, and there's very little of those left. And then I'm also talking magazines. Again, not as many magazines. So hyphens are fading away, and they're not needed, especially in smaller documents. When we're creating stuff for anything in these classes and you just have a couple paragraphs, of information, there's no need for hyphens. You're not pressed for space. So we want to remove the hyphens. Let's open up our 2 main programs. So for InDesign, I believe it's been a while. If I go to Window, and I don't have anything open, right? I don't have anything open. I'm just on this home page. Nothing's open. If I go to Window, or maybe I have to go to Type. paragraph. All right, go to type and paragraph. Sorry, you know it's open in that. It's always open in the properties panel now. And if I open that, it opened it there. So I go to window, type, paragraph. Where is it? Oh, it moved it onto a different screen. See how hyphenated's clicked? If I unclick that, I'm unclicking that, all right? Nothing is open. Then I'm gonna close that and I'm gonna close InDesign. InDesign, quit InDesign. Now I'm gonna reopen InDesign. And I can do that again for you. And what that will do, like I said, is it will make sure that whenever I open InDesign from here on out, there's no hyphens. So if I were to create a new file, and this is arbitrary, create, whatever, and I go to my properties, and I'm going to create a paragraph. Now, I like this item, and you can set it or not set it, but I kind of like, there's a fill. Where is it? Fill with placeholder text. I like to have that in there. So when I build something, before I put my text in, I kind of have it. And all I did was right click. And that's another one that you can preset. And it should happen maybe now all the time when I draw a paragraph. I don't know. All right, I have to set that. But enough said. This is good because I'm resetting. I open a brand new computer, and so I have to reset everything. But if I go to my paragraph and I hit those three buttons, hyphenate isn't checked. And that's because I did it with it not open. And I hit that, I clicked it there, and now it remembers. So every time I open InDesign from here on out, on this computer only, I will never have hyphens. And that's how you do that. And I think for placeholder text, because I like that. I don't know if everybody does. When you draw a box and it puts in placeholder text or lorem ipsum, file, InDesign, preferences, type. I'd have to look it up. Here's under general. Let's look it up. So this is what I do every time I need to know something. Auto fill type boxes in design. Every day I do something like this, literally to speed up my process. I'm always like looking like, wait, there's got to be a better way to do this. How do I do that? In that way, you can automatically no. Oh, autofill lorem ipsum. To lorem. So I'll be working on a project and I'll be like, there's got to be a better way to do that. And I just go and I do it. Like I go and look it up. There's got to be a better way. So here it does say for InDesign, clearly the placeholder types of type fill with placeholder. All right. So type. Am I not seeing it? I'll have to dig around. I know I can find it. Sometimes I don't want to bore you with while I'm searching around, but that's how to get rid of the hyphens. So always get rid of hyphens. That's the way to do it. And in Illustrator, I was going to show you an Illustrator. So Illustrator, you cannot auto do it. When you go to the Windows, or at least it didn't let me do it in the past. Maybe if I go to type and character and I click on that and I go to paragraph, you can't do anything. It's clicked on and I haven't found a way around that in order to turn it off. So in Illustrator, when you're doing something, I'm just gonna hit create, and I got a paragraph of text. That's what I like it when it fills it with the text, and you can set InDesign to do the same. But then for here, I just automatically go and I make sure it's turned off, and it's automatically turned off on this, which is kind of funny. Maybe that's the better way, but always make sure hyphens are turned off. Like I said, you are not in a business right now of typesetting for magazines or newspapers, but if you do get to that point in your life, they will have some of this preset for you, and they'll have very specific typesetting setups for you that you work with. But for us, no hyphens. And I know this goes across all the instructors here. Like, we don't want to see hyphens. And you'll get marked down for it in my class if I see hyphens. Here's the other weird one that that's hard. It's a widow or an orphan, and it goes by two names, and they're interchangeable a little bit, and it sort of depends on who's saying it, but it comes up. I've heard these switches. So a widow is when you have a whole paragraph of text and you have one lonely word at the bottom. That's called a widow. The reasons we don't want that is it just ends the paragraph in a goofy way. You got somebody's reading a nice line of text, and then they come to the last and they're like, blah, and you spit out like one word. So we try to always have about, I would say, 2 words, 3 words would be better at the end of a paragraph. And that's a little bit gets up to you. You have to learn how to typeset a little bit better and move words around in order to remove widows. And that's how I do it. I hand do it each time. Because it doesn't pop up a lot. And it's a very easy, like, you can adjust the size of the text. You can do soft returns. You can do a ton of different things to make sure that a widow isn't present. A single word at the bottom of a paragraph. It just is goofy. It's not needed. And you have all these ways you can get rid of them. So you get rid of them. The orphan, and this is even more rare, is like, say this is a column of in a newspaper, and the last word is just on its own at the top. And this looks like a header, but this audimus is actually supposed to be down here, not up here. So that's the problem there. So make sure that never happens. But that's more of a rarity. It only comes if you're typesetting like in columns or on pages. Like, you don't want this to start on the next page. So make sure, and I check for these, and I'll be like, you have a widow, or you'll get that checklist thing for me, and I'll have a check on it. And I'll be like, there's widows. Just get rid of them. Get rid of the widows. Not windows, widow. Why is it? This is a little orphaned word, and this is just like, old school terminology. A widow, so a lonely lady because her husband has passed away. I didn't name it. I didn't come up with this stuff, but that's what it's called. So make sure you don't do widows and orphans in your work. I check them. It's just something to stop doing. I'll check it. You'll hear from me all the time. You'll hear from Kate. You'll hear from Craig. You might hear from Chris. Like everybody. Just stop doing it and remove them, and it's part of the job. All right. I'm going to jump around. No, I won't. All right. Every designer needs to know. A restrictive design. You get some information. You got to build a template with all the proper graphic design setups on it, margins, crop marks, everything, bleeds. This is standard. You're going to be doing this in all projects from here on out. You just get used to doing it every time. I open now. I don't never not do it. It's so ingrained in my brain. Even like when I do something quick I stumble. I'm like making like I always use the example, like a chore chart for my house for the 3 people. And I like set up a document. I'm like margin, bleed, blah. And I'm like, this is just, I'm going to print it on my black and white printer at home, but I still go through the process. Just it's a good thing to just kind of keep in mind. It's one of those, you know, like brushing your teeth. You do it every night, I hope. When I set up a document, I put on these 3 things. Let's look at the piece first, and then I'll build the document. I want to look. I'm going to grab my text. I'm just going to go to a, you know, I'm going to look through this. Oh, that's weird. Oh, this is always a good one. No, a lot of people choose that one. Oh, I like this. If there's a problem, people narrow their view. So I'm going to copy that. All right, now I'm going to go, and this one we're going to build in Adobe Illustrator. Let's get started. I'm going to move it off to the side. I'm going to go through it. Close up that. Don't save. File. New. Old school. I still don't go to this blue button all the time. Old school. All right. I need it to be 5.5 tall, wide. Excuse me, 5.5 wide by 5 tall. Bleed 0.25. I'm going to hit create. I'm going to make a layer. I'm going to call it margin. And I'm going to create the margin. It's 5 by 4.5. So I'm just going to draw a box. I'm going to go over here, and I'm going to select the 5. And then I'm going to tab 4.5. I'm going to hit tab. The reason I hit tab is I'm not moving my hand back and forth to things. Anything on that keyboard that you can click to not move your mouse hand so much is going to speed up your process. I'm going to go down here for fill. It's going to be a nothing. For stroke, it's going to be magenta. Why did I click nothing? So I'm going to go, the stroke is 1 point magenta. Why is that, Joel? Industry standard. The margin 90% of the time is going to be magenta. And then I'm going to click here, this align, which is just down in this properties menu. Like this is how I set up and work professionally. Layers, libraries on one side, properties on the other. I may add stuff, but with properties, you don't have to add anything. And I use align and distribute spacing every day. And it's just not on making margins, but I make it sure it's centered and centered. Perfect. And then I'm going to turn on my rulers, Command R, and I'm going to pull. I want to know where my center point is. I want to know where my center point is. And it just snaps to it. And then I'm going to take my margin, unlike last time, and I'm going to make sure I do it as a template. Thank God, like when I, you know, people who were in my history class when I did that mistake, but I saw it pop up in my PDF. That's why you view your PDF and be like, oh, there was a mistake. Go back, fix it. Now I'll make my crop marks even easier. Click on my crop marks. I'm going to make a box the size that it needs to be, which is the size of the artboard, which is 5.5 by 5. And there's a reason in the end I'm sizing all these. And this is no fill, no stroke, perfect, effects, crop marks. Boom. Again, I showed this in my last class. Those are called Japanese crop marks. I just like them because I've been using them for years. I thought it was like cool and trendy at one point. You can find them under settings in general. It's just click on use Japanese crop mark. I don't know if anybody goes through these at all and adjusts items. You should go through this one sometime and just like kind of make sure, like look at things and like units. If you're not on inches, change that to inches. That way, every time you open a document, it changes. Like, look through your preferences once in a while. Maybe I'll dig deeper into that in the future. So there I have my crop marks built. And then here, I'm going to create a layer, and it's called typography. turn, and that's it. Now, I have a long line, but I'm going to still use point text, and I should be able to paste. All right. Now, I'm going to break this up, and when I break it up, I just go copy, paste. And for me, I work in, I like to work in a style where I do this. It copied over all caps. I may keep that. I may change that. I kind of like this big fat font. But what I would like is I narrow. And I'm not going to narrow it by squeezing it. I'm going to make it narrow, and I want to find a font. And oddly, I have Helvetica that I know that I have a narrow, and I have a black. So that's condensed black. I have two Helveticas. I want to be able to do black and black condensed, right? So if I start with black, and I'm going to do now I'm going to break this up. And for some of these, we're restricted on what we can do. 3 colors maximum, 2 typefaces, only typography, but that still allows us to do so much. And we can add textures. I was thinking about, I have to pre-think because I'm trying to do these off the cuff. If there is a problem, I think I want to separate that too. And we do let's do that. And we do something, is there a way to highlight certain areas of the text, or just one color change? And I'm just getting these to be the same size. If there is a problem, people narrow their view. Now this is goofy because I wanted narrow to be on its own, but then the people is also on its own. So I'm unsure right now how I want to accomplish that. So I'm going to delete that. We'll delete that. Oh, you know what? I'll keep people in narrow, which might be fun. And I'm going to make this big. And make this. It's just big chunk. This is a big chunky. Oh, I just got an idea. Here's my idea. And I don't know if I'll do it because I don't want to keep you forever. And then I'll do bold condensed or black condensed. And then when I started this, you know what this made me think of? And this is that creative process. I got to look it up because I don't know what they look like. Oh, let's move over here. The creative process. An eye chart. Should I do this? And then how can I get this look for my piece? So maybe I can, because I think that kind of fits it, right? And then I can have just some dummy text. So I'm going to take this. I'm somewhat happy. Again, I'm a little bit speeding through this. I'm going to make sure I'm going to throw a version of this over here. Those are all editable. This one, I'm going to change it to type and create outlines. That gives me perfectly set up lines of text in which I can use a line and then distribute my spacing to get that perfect. Then when I grab this chunk of text, I can just use the arrow keys and make sure it's perfectly centered. It's not grouped, so if I hit the centered thing, it would center each line. And then I'm going to make a copy of this here. and a copy of this here. And then I'm going to take this line and I'm going to pick an arbitrary 10%. I'm going to go to scale, which is hidden underneath this. And I'm going to double click on scale. And I want to do it uniform, and I want 90%. And I want to do it from the center out. So when I transform something, I want to make sure over here, I don't know if you can see where I'm circling. Oh, you know what? I took off the big cursor. I got to change my cursors to the center. And that way, if I'm going to type in 90 for this line, then I'm going to grab this line. I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to do 80, double click, and I'm going to change it to 80. I'm going to take this line, and I'm going to go to 70. I'm going to do this line. I'm going to do 60. I'm going to do this line 50. All right. Now I'm going to redistribute all of these. I'm going to move this one down to the bottom, and I'll touch the margin, and I'll touch the margin. Actually, I'm going to make sure everything touches the margin. I'm going to get this top line as wide as I can go. I'm going to have this touch the margin. Again, this is, and then I'm going to grab all of them. I'm going to go back to this distribute spacing. Then I'm going to take this line and I'm going to make it 50%. Maybe like I'll go there. What is that one? It's not popping. And I'll do the same with this one, which I can just use the eyedropper so I get it right. And then this, even though it's not necessarily like shown on there, I feel like every once in a while there's an eye chart, and I'm going to change that fill to their standard red. And there's my piece. All right. And then I'm going to do File, Save As, and I'm going to save it to my cloud, and I'm going to save it to my files, and this is 142. I'm going to create a new folder and call it, let me open up. These are called Every Designer. I'm going to call it Every. Save. Now, where is Every? What? Oh, I'll have to move that later. I can move it into the other folder. So I want it to save here. And then this is for saving purposes. This is JSKAJA _ EVERY 2. Oh my God. Oh, I have to change something. I have the wrong suffix listed on the assignment. I'll change that. Hold on, writing myself a note. Change suffix. That's just, I have it written wrong on the assignment. So that's for me. Then nobody can get it wrong and be like, I did in the Illustrator, but it says to save it as an InDesign file. I just forgot to change the suffix. All right. Now, this is something that I taught in the last class. Some of you know it. And this is like when we save those PDFs. And I want to show you something. If you didn't see it, if I do export as, and I switch it to a PDF, and it's saving to my desktop, and I hit export, I have pre-made ones for client and press. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So for the client, I'm actually going to hit cancel and file, export as. Adobe PDF. I'm going to write client here. I'm going to hit export. Now I'm going to go and I'm going to follow my rules, but I'm going to add one step in. And once you do this, you never have to do it again. I'm going to go to smallest file size. I'm making sure view PDF after saving is on. I'm going to go to marks and bleeds, and I have nothing turned on. Now, and this is all correct. I followed this. This is 100% correct. I'm going to go to this little item right here, and I'm going to click it once. And I'm going to call it client space 01. And now when I hit OK, it creates this. And every time I have to save an assignment for Joel and I have a client, all I have to do is click client, export PDF, and it's all set up properly. Now I can do that with the press one as well. So I go to File, Export, Export As, and I'm going to call it Press. And then that's the only thing you have to ever do. So you export. I'm going to follow my stuff. This or print. Shoot, it's supposed to say print and not press, but let's fix that. So I want press quality. I want to make sure view PDF after saving is open, so I always check my work. I want trim marks on and use document bleed settings. I'm going to click here and call it print. Hit OK. It is now creating one that I can go to every time, and I will know it's correct. And I hit export, and there he is. I have my crop marks are showing. If there was a bleed there to be seen, it would be there. And now the computer knows that. And every time I have to save a PDF for Joel, all I have to do is click on client, export, and then go export, export as, press, boom, you're done. This is great to know because you'll have certain clients, certain people over time that will want something always delivered the same way. And if you can just make an auto, boom, 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 you're done. It makes it so much easier. All right, let's check out what we're going to do for the next one. And then I'm going to play around. I want to show you my logos I'm working on. All right, exploring brands. This is similar to the discovery about graphic designers, but I want you to now go into a brand. What's like one of your favorite brands in the world? And I want you to tell us about it graphically. So you're going to pick a brand. You're going to give me some background information. You're going to see the visual identity, and you're going to tell us why this brand. Why do you like it? So pick your favorite brand. I don't care what it is. You're going to do this like 4 times. You get the 4 brands. It doesn't have to be like, oh, I don't know what to choose. You're going to do this more than once. Pick something that you like. I'm going to get the, I have research that I got, but it's for media. It's for next week. I think I'm going to use, I'll start and I'll do the brand I'm doing for the history class. I'm just going to do Vans. So we're going to do, it's the same thing. You are going to create a document, and it's got to have imagery. Oh, it doesn't have, I don't have the full write-up in here. All right. I want you to have background information, the visual identity, and why you picked the brand. So first, we're going to set this up in InDesign. So like I said, we go back and forth with these. We're going to do InDesign. Don't save. So I'm going to File, New, Document, or you could go to there, New. Just used to doing it the old way. Create a document. It's 13 inches wide by 8 inches tall. 8. Pages 1, non-facing. I'm going to set the margins at 1/2 inch and the bleed at 1/4 inch. So margins 0.5. Bleed is at 0.25. I'm going to hit create. And then I'm going to pull a ruler, and I'm going to separate this in half. So I'll pull the guide that way, and I'm going to pull a guide this way. Why is it clicking at 4? Did I type something in wrong? No, this is perfect. All right, then I'm going to create my layers, and I'm going to have layer 1 could be title. Layer 2, images. Layer 3 is paragraph. Layer 4 is background. Now, I've actually done a little research, and I haven't found everything I wanted, but I have some starters here. And what that allows me to do is I did some pre-research, and I put them into some folders that I've been saving. And so I can dig around, but like if I go to images and I kind of like pull this one over, where do I have to place it? Got to be selected on that layer. So here's their logo. And I may want a better logo, like this was like just for image and placement. Now I also found a ton of research. I found the colors that I can use, and then information. All of these have like little snippets of information I can put in. And I'm looking like they got the background, like the foot pattern and all that kind of stuff. Like this is a good one to put in. And I'm just putting all these in as placeholders. And I can make them all smaller, but they're just for me to reference. And I dug around and I was finding reference. I'm going to go to view. There's something I want to turn off the middle bar. I'll do that next week or on Thursday with you. When I work in InDesign, I don't like this circle. And so I have it permanently turned off because I do mistakenly click on it and I don't like that kind of idea happening. So I turn those off. And again, I use free transform all the time. Free transform allows you to just grab the object, unlike the select tool, and you can just size it much quicker. And the free transform, if you want to speed through stuff, is E, and you should kind of know it. I use the E, but I do it like this so you see me doing it. So title, I want to get a Vans logo vector. Let's find something. Images. Oh, here's Seek logo. PNG. Let's do this. AI. Do I have to pay? Download. All right. It's kind of weird. Some person in their bathroom. I don't want to download the extension. Download logo. You always got to dig around. Like make sure you're downloading the right area. And I'll do this one. Again, and make sure I go to the download logo. I don't know why that opened. Close that. Preparing your download, please wait. Let's see what happened. Was I too quick on the last one? Oh, I may have gone too quick. Oh, start download. I went too quick on the last one. What is it? Preparing. Start download. All right. Now I have those, and I'm going to open those in Illustrator, but then I'm going to copy and paste them over. So File, Open, Downloads. Oh, it zipped it. All right, let's unzip it and then get it. All right, look at all those versions. All right, so there, the logo, full vector. I would even, it's nice that it's white. I'd knock that out maybe, but all I have to do is copy. And then I'm going to paste it into here. I'm actually going to add a layer and call it logo. Paste it in. There you are. So that's the vector logo. It looks funky. It is stalled up my computer. Make an object, ungroup. There we are. So that is fully vector, which will be nice and sharp, even though it's sort of not showing it as vector. All right. Group it again. So then I can size it. It'll be great. And then I can get that other one, which for some reason I don't see in my downloads. It's this one. There's the one. Well, let's delete all this. Go back to that weird website. No. Download logo. Preparing. This is the worst part about some of these projects sometimes. But once you have all, I actually spend more time sometimes and I gather it all. I do all my gathering at once and I gather more than I need. And I spend like 30 minutes like digging around. Okay, I want this. And then I go and oh, that's horrible. So right now, like that little weirdness, I'm just going to use the shape builder and combine that. There we go. And I copy that, go back to InDesign, paste it in. There we have a logo. I can just make that smaller just to make it smaller. All right. And then I know Vans. I wear them all the time. Checkerboard, it's a big thing. So why don't I make a simple checkerboard pattern real quick, and then I'll move on and show you my sketches and stuff that I'm working on. So I made a black square. I always turn off the stroke, even if it's just a black square. I don't want a stroke on it. There's no reason to have it, and then it's going to mess things up. So I'll make it 3 tall, and then I'm going to go like this. And then I'm going to take the middle ones, these, and knock it out. Actually, I just want to do the 2. And then I can copy and paste this. Oh, nope. And then I'm going to grab these 4. The problem with InDesign is there's no duplicate. But once you grab one set and make a set, you can just kind of keep going And I'm using the snap feature. And right now, I'm also just making these arbitrarily big. Look at this mess. What the heck's going on? And I'm going to do one more set. And then I just have a big line. And what does that allow me to do is when I zoom out, not that far, is I can grab it all, group it, and then I just have that ready and I can add to it, subtract from it, and do anything I want. So I'm going to group it. And that way, if I want to make it smaller, it all just goes smaller and it just stays as its own setup. Now, here's something funky I'll teach you. Let's say I want this to be a border and I want it to touch, touch the edge. Well, technically, now I need to pull all of these and make them go to the bleed. So I have to actually make it look like that. Oh, come on, let's do it. I'm gonna have to use the arrow key. I'm direct selecting all those bottom ones, and then I'm growing those to or past the bleed. But what happens, so that's proper bleed. It's going extending beyond, but then when you look at the preview, it's perfect. But when it goes to print, it'll be even more perfect. Looks like an off red. I want to change that red to the proper red. So now I've got a lot of information off on the sides. I've got a start of, I got the logos, and now I just need to start like adding in some information, maybe adding a dirty background, and I can get to that next class. Let's look at some bubbler stuff. All right. All right, so Thursday, your visual research and then logo lockups. I worked on 3. I've been playing around and I'm going to show you my developments. They're not quite done. I got some time, right? This is due on Thursday. I got some time. I want to make sure that you remember that this link includes the Bubbler logo and Summerfest logo, which are required parts. I don't have mine in yet, but I'm working on it. I'm going to go to, what is this one? I can close that. Don't save. I have the vector. Close that. Don't save. I have the vector. And I am going to go to my files. I'm going to go to 142. And I'm going to go to Bubble. And I'm going to go to this one. But I'll ignore. All right. I started playing around. And this goes into some of the stuff I'm going to be talking about for this week's class. You're going to develop your logo. And then the weird part is I ask you for 10 variations of the same logo. I'm just going to show you. Logo variations. 10 distinct variations of a single logo that you've picked. So I'll introduce this more on Thursday, but I've already started doing it. And that comes into when I started playing around with this. I call this like the starter of the Hawaiian. So I started with, title case, lowercase, uppercase. I found what I wanted. And then I made adjustments. I extended some letters, made them almost touch, but not quite. I could make them touch if I wanted them to join. But then I started playing with color. And I got the Bubbler colors. And I made this one, blue and pink with a black background. And then I have pink with blue with a black background. And then I did like some reversal. So each of these what I'm doing is I'm exploring all different types of color combinations, right? I'm trying stuff out. I'm not just saying, here's the one logo I have, but what I'm developing is, here's all these things I can do, and it's going to make, and it makes me look at this in a different way. I can do something as crazy as this too. So this is it, and I'll show you some other things. I didn't work much on, oh, I wanted to play around and show you this in more detail with using overlay, but I can then even go more extreme. And so I have, this is like a lockup. I always save one and destroy the other. So I can move one, move it off the artboard, wherever you want to move it. I do this all the time. I got stuff off the artboard. It doesn't matter. And I'm going to zoom in on this. And again, this isn't due this Thursday. This is the buildup. But I want you to start thinking when you're working on these, because sometimes I just start doing this naturally. And I'm like, because I'm looking, I'm like, okay, this is pretty good. But what if I then take this and put it here? Well, that's a whole different setup. Then there's this like area here that maybe I could work into. So this is like this. I just saw this now. I promise you, I didn't like look at that. Like, okay, now I have a vertical version of kind of like the same logo. Or, you know, and as you start looking at like, it's all the same assets and parts, but how can I play around with them a little bit more and move them around? So there's one. Oops. Well, this is where it gets, just ungroup it. So when you start to do, you know, like, do I do a staggered? I could do something where like, oh, like this, you know, if there's something weird, like, look at that. I just moved them over, and I could, you know, with some playing around, get that wine, that U to join up, and then like get it to work a little better. And then maybe like, then you end up doing like some other staggering, you know. You know, like then it's like this weird kind of play on words. It's not great, it's not perfect, but it's like that playing around. It's not just sticking to this one idea here and then some color changes, but like, what else can I do to change this up? And I was working with this. Oh, I wanted to work with that type. So summer and bubble. Let's do summer and bubble. There's a cool thing that I like to do is if you put these objects, these are half circles. I don't think I did this last time. If I did, you get a repeat on it. I'm going to go to object, arrange, bring to front. Then I can take the word summer, I'll move my over the place, bring it in here. And when I grab both of these, I need to grab both the shape and the word. And I go to object, envelope, distort, and I'm going to make with top object. It puts summer into that object. I can do the same with bubble. Just move it here. You can be off to the side. Like it doesn't have to be, it just has to be, the shape needs to be on top. And I go to object, envelope, distort, make with top object. Now that's looking fun, right? And then I can do that whole like, don't burst, you know, my along the top and give away along the bottom. So then we just go, and I'm going to make a circle, an ellipse for us perfect speakers. And I'll get it recentered. I'm going to flip it so I only see the outline, and I'm always holding down shift. Now, there's a little bit of discrepancy. This is a perfect circle, but I separated out summer bubble, so it's not going to seem like a perfect circle. So I need my circle actually to match, you know, it's going to be two separate circles because I want it to be a perfect system on this line above summer. So I'm only going to use for don't burst. All I can do, yeah, don't burst my is going to be on this line. And then I'm going to do another circle for giveaway because they won't line up. And I want this exact perfect spacing there. So this one's easy. Type tool. I click on it and I go, don't burst my. And I'm just going to, select that. Select that. Tool. Click on that. And then all of the type stuff coalesces. And working on these circles sometimes is extremely difficult. You're moving these weird things around, and sometimes I have a hard time with them too. Like just like that. I don't know why I did that. But I want to take this, and I want to move this, and I want to get it perfectly in the center. So now, don't burst my should be perfectly centered. And you can double check it. And I'm going to move this to perfect center. I'm going to move this to perfect center. And then that way, this is equally distributed around it. And it's a perfect setup right there. And I can make it bigger or smaller. Like maybe I want it the full length. I'm going to tighten up the leading or the tracking, excuse me. Then I can make it bigger. Now I can take this, if I'm lazy. I don't know. I don't know if it's easier to just copy and paste this or what. But it's the correct size. Now I want giveaway, but giveaway needs to be on the inside and at the bottom. Again, if you do this, if you've done this, you know, like I screw this up constantly when doing this in these circles. I'm going to delete. I'm going to type giveaway. Now I'm going to make my circle bigger, but this just set it up so my start is good. Ooh, and I got something good. And I'm going to make sure that my circle is going to be that distance. So like this is now touching every edge. And then so I'm going to scale it. And I'm holding down Shift and Option when I do this. And I want that same distance. So I want the same distance around this. So giveaway is way too big. So I can make that smaller. And then instead of me pushing it up, pushing it up, it's going to make it odd. I need to make the circle smaller. Because I want that distance to be perfect in there. And I may need to adjust this some more. Now, I have an area where I can put logos. I could put maybe I put bubbler over here or bubbler over here. Or if I was like weird, I could hold this and this and pull these down and maybe put something in the middle. You know, like, so variations come from this. Or if I want this tighter, like maybe I want that tighter. And then I can play with the words. You know, like it gives me a lot of room to play when I work with this one. So there's idea 1, there's idea 2. I kind of stayed away from some other stuff, but my idea 3 for this project is here. Home, your files. I hope it's at 142. Bubble. There it is. It's opening. This one is hand done. I had really good expectations for this. And it turned out my expectations weren't as great as I thought they would be. Oh, it's just, you're like, what are you waiting for, Joel? I didn't think it was this big of a document. And like I said, some of these, because of the convenience factor that I have, because I have it's about a decade old iPad, but it comes with an Apple Egg. Bought myself an Apple Pencil. So some of this sketching, and even I could do it even if I wanted to, I just do it while relaxing. I do it at night. I hang out with the family. We got the TV on. We're watching cooking shows or whatever. And I work on these during that time. And I find it's like a really nice time for me to do like this initial phase where I don't need to be in front of a big computer and like rearranging full design. Like I couldn't do InDesign sitting in front of the TV working away. But I can do these sketches with Fresco, with Adobe Fresco on an iPad if you have one. It's an amazing program. It does vector and pixel at the same time. So it's like a combo of Photoshop and Illustrator, but it's only available on iPads and Surfaces. So there's that. But boy, it's really killing the internet here. I'll open that. As soon as this opens, I'll show it to you, and then I'll let you guys go. Any questions? There it is. So I hand drew all this. This is all my sketches show up. So ideas, like this is the idea we just did, right? This is that first idea. This is just playing around, and then I blank, kind of using some layers, and I had that life preserver idea, which I didn't like. And then I started, and a lot of these happen, I work in layers, and I'll like start a new layer and I'll start drawing on top of it with a different color and start drawing on top of that one with a different color just to start hashing things out. And here I'm like just kind of figuring out in this quarter I need 3 letters, and I was doing it wrong, and I'm just sketching it out. And then I did this with some drawing aids, and then I got to this, just sketching it out. Here I like this way better than what I ended up with, like this. But there's so many weird inconsistencies, and because I hand did all these, I was just like I hate the ease. Don't comes across way bigger than like the rest. I like the idea of the script in the middle, but it's just like this needs like a ton of work, and I don't know if I'm willing to spend a lot of time on hand illustrating. I wish I had the time. Who knows? I may sneak it in. But right now, so that's my third one. And then again, I have to figure out where I want to put the logos. And like maybe there's a spot in here. Maybe if I make that smaller, I can put the logos in here. They shouldn't be a full-on afterthought. They should be integrated in to the logo, but they shouldn't just be sitting beside it with like an X. I don't know. I think that's kind of like, it should be somewhat, they need to travel always with the logo. So find a good way to integrate. Like here, I can integrate them down at the bottom. Maybe if I did one of these, other designs, you can fit it. They're pretty standard logos. To show you again where they are when you're working on this. Here that is. Download this. If you didn't download this, you're missing a lot of information. Double click on it. Like I said, I got the can art. Look at that. Beautiful can art for you to use. Big. You have to transfer them because they're WebP files. And then these are stupid AVIF, but I went and I got all these for you. You can use those on your posters. So all this is there. You don't have to search for it. I made a bubbler logo. So and then I just did it in the blue. You change the color. It's fully vector. It's grouped. So that's the bubbler logo. So you never, on this piece, should you ever use a rasterized logo. And then for Summerfest, first one, full on what you can and can't do. Never, do not rotate, stretch or distort, alter colors. Okay, then. I can only use it straight up as it is, which means I can double click on this. Oh no, it doesn't know what to open in. Cancel. Open with 2026. There's a whole line of these blank ones. It's there. It's in white. So if you put it on a dark background. So I will say this. For this project, you can just take the upper part. You don't have to worry about the June 29th presented by American Family Insurance. Just this upper part is all you need. But again, I have it for you. Look at the brand guidelines and don't distort, change, or ruin anything. You can just scale it. And then you said, like, where do I want it? This would be like down here. Summerfest is less important than Bubbler in the terms of hierarchy. And play around. Let me know if you have questions. I'll double check the discussion boards right when I'm done with this. I put Bubbler on the top. And there's my super stack. Like there's a super stack version. Make Bubbler this big. And there you go. And just play around. Tons of logos. Make them. 3 distinct styles. So I have this type, I have this type, and then I have the hand type, which I'm not going to explore anymore, because then with the next class, we're just going to pick one of them and explore more. But don't not explore now. And it's just moving things around. So, cool. Any questions, comments, or concerns from today? All right, cool. We'll do even more of this. I'll continue on with the projects. On Thursday, I already did the every designer needs to know. I won't cover off on that, but I'll work a little bit more on the Vans thing. Like every time I work on these, the reason I do them with you is I think of these things like, oh, you should know how to do this. Hey, have you ever tried this? And it's just going to give you more and more stuff in your bucket instead of me just saying go off and design and then being quiet. At least you get to see how I do it, and maybe you'll be like, oh, I like how he's doing it. I watch videos about how other people design and then take tricks from them. So cool. All right. I'll talk to you. If I don't see you on the discussion boards, I'll talk to you Thursday. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.